Alright, bro. Just introduce yourself. Tell us a little bit about you.
Yeah, kia ora. My name's Jesse. I'm from West Auckland. I've grown up in Auckland all my life. I spent a bit of time travelling the country, but I'm back to where it all started in AK.
Man. So we're out south and you live out south, but you're from west.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, morning. And what makes you want to share your story with us today?
I just want to give people hope that, no matter how far you go in your addiction, that, like there is a way back with a lot of hard work. You can and actually recover, You can build those bridges that you burnt.
Yeah.
You can reconnect with whānau.
Yeah.
And you can find all the things you lost in your addiction.
Hard out. And you lost a lot?
Yeah. I've definitely lost a lot, but I'm slowly getting it all back.
Yeah, mean, bro, mean.
Bit by bit.
And where does your journey begin with addiction?
Well, I suppose my journey with addiction, my journey just begins in childhood, being exposed to drugs and violence and gangs. Growing up, witnessing that, those were my role models. I didn't know any better, so it was like I always wanted to be a gangster. I was like hang out and pick around the corner and what are they up to,
Yeah.
And just being exposed to it all. I didn't know any different, like I remember pruning plants, when I was a little kid.
Oh yeah.
My old man coming into the room and waking up. It's harvest time, for toys, because I know that's when I'm getting some new toys. I'm getting me a bike or something,
Wow.
And
really?
the whole ground's all covered in newspaper, and on a pile of buds here, a pile of stalks there, and a pile of cabbage there, and that's me. I'm away with the scissors,
And how old do you reckon you were at that?
Oh, 5, 6.
Fuck.
Yeah. So just always seen it. And then I've seen my uncles and stuff, powders. I remember it was called Go Fast, nose candy, and people crushing pills up and making lines up on the table. And I wasn't told to go to my room or nothing. I was just overlooked. So I was always interested, what's going on here,
Well, you fucking would be.
Yeah. So I don't know. It's just.
And did you think at that time that this shit is normal for a child your age?
Pretty much, yeah. I knew not to say about anything at school. That was I never got told don't say anything, but I just knew don't say anything because don't want to get the house raided. There's bloody grow rooms and shit in my house. Growing up with plants in my room and shit.
Fuck.
So yeah. I didn't think I'd smoke drugs, I never thought I'd ever touch them. I know I was too busy being a kid, I could fuck off and do whatever I wanted, and as long as I was back by night time, it was all good. So I was pretty troublesome right from a young age, troubled at school, having teacher aides, and wasn't focused at school. I remember being at primary school and drawing patches instead of doing maths because I hated maths. So I started drawing gang patches, the gangs that I grew up around. And
that you idolised.
Yeah, pretty much, and my teachers would be like, what's your parents going to say if they see this? I'm like, fuck yous, whatever. As soon as I knew that the teachers couldn't hurt me, fuck yous, didn't care. I got expended from school for taking a pistol to school, and it was they put a nationwide ban on me from going to any high school, so I never went to high school.
Where do you even get that?
Around the house.
Oh,
yeah.
So you didn't really have the best kind of start?
Nah, but it's what I had, and my mum though, she always stuck by me and always wanted the best for me, and she's my rock, without a doubt. I don't know where I'd be if I didn't have her. But it was hard growing up, watching all the violence towards my mum, and us being out on the street and taking off, sleeping in the car just to get away from all the violence at home, and then I suppose I was 12, I think, when I first got stoned. I could steal weed whenever I wanted it. was stealing weed and like rolling joints up and selling them at school when I didn't even smoke it, you know. But I was, you know, got me my pies, so I was happy, you know. Yeah, one day I sparked up a joint, and that was, I suppose, the beginning. And I started smoking dope when I was 12. By the time I was like 13, 14, I was smoking it every day, selling it, you know. I knew how much shit weighed, like I was taught from a young age, how much does an ounce weigh? You know, it was like, and those were the old scales, not the digital ones, you know.
Yeah.
So I was like weighing up ounces and shit for, my old man really, when I was a kid. I never, like I smoked dope for years and I was anti-meth for years because I'd seen what I'd done to my dad.
Yeah.
It really broke him, and it made him really violent, you know. Put my mum through hell, and, you know, I was dragged along for the ride. So I was always like, fuck the meth, and touch that shit. I had people around me smoking it, and I just never thought I'd ever touch it, you know. I could drink alcohol and smoke dope and stay up just as long as them, you know. As long as I had something to do, I was there, and I was partying hard, you know, with the older kids, and just trying to like fit in, I suppose. But like being a young fella, hanging out with the older fellas, I had to be like a little bit more crazier than them so that they'd give me their time, you know. So I was just, really, really troubled youth. In and out of the cells, catching cases all the time. Didn't care. You know? And nobody told me that if I get a criminal record, I won't be able to leave the country. So like, yeah, it was the cops that told me that, and I was like, fuck, well, I want to go to Australia. Like, never. You know, my first ever charge was presenting a firearm.
How old were you?
13, I think, in the South Island. Yeah, I went to stay with my nan, and I got somebody to buy me a BB gun. That's what it was. It wasn't a real gun. But then I know too much watching video games and watching movies, and next minute I think I'm a thug, bandana on my face, standing on the middle of the road. Fuck out of your car, you know.
Oh my god.
And then shit, that's right. Can't even shoot you. So yeah, that was my first time getting arrested. And then that just turned into a pattern. I know, I just felt like I could control people and control the situation if I had guns on me. So like throughout my life, I've always had them close by, and it's got me in a lot of trouble over the years. But yeah, I had my kids. You know, I met my ex-wife and I was about 17, 18, and then she fell pregnant with my daughter, and that was like my ticket out, you know. That was my ticket out of the life. I was so happy with when I found out, you know, I was having a kid. I was like, yes, this is me, this is my like ticket out of the hood. I can say fuck yous to everybody and go and do my thing. Like I still smoke dope, but yeah, and I still had like a lot of deep-seated issues, like my violence, my anger, you know. I was addicted to anger before anything, you know. That was just natural for me. So yeah, like once I had my daughter, I found true love, you know. Like she calmed me down a whole lot. So I was about 18, 19 when I had my first child, and I stayed out of trouble for years.
Right.
But well, in the law's eyes, I stayed out of trouble, but I just wasn't getting caught because I was being a bit more vigilant about things. I had responsibilities at home. You know, I made sure I get home to my wife and kids. But yeah, so my daughter was like a blessing, and then we had my son. You know, we already had a bit of a troubled relationship, and to go and add another child into it sort of just made things a lot worse, you know.
I think it was just being young.
Yeah, well, we were kids having kids, you know. My daughter got taken off us. We got raided by the armed defenders, and my daughter got uplifted from SIFs because of an incident with a firearm, and yeah, that was a big eye opener, you know, because we didn't know what we had until we lost it. So they took my daughter, and I just had to focus on what can I do to get her back. I had to do parenting programs, you know. She went into my auntie's care for a few months, I know that much, but we worked hard and we got her back, you know. So we're blessed, you know, and now we had these skills to bring up a child then we had our second one, and yeah, I don't know. I just wasn't home much. Just out doing stupid shit, really. I was working at the time doing roofing, and then I'd have a pocket full of money all the time, and just started selling drugs, started buying heaps of weed, selling heaps of weed. Then as things progressed, you know, our relationship started breaking down. I turned to the pipe. Yep,
Do you remember that first time?
Yeah. Like, I had an argument with my ex, and I was like, oh, fuck this, you know. Sometimes I'd cause fights just to get out of the house, you know.
Yeah.
But this one, I can't remember what it was about. But I took off, and I went and seen one of my cousins, and like, for years I'd known he's on it, but I just never touched it, you know. But yeah, I was just sitting there, went to his house, and it was there, and I was like, fuck, gives a turn at this, cuz. And he goes, oh, go hard. And I did. I sat there and I just smoked all day, all night, and I was thinking, this shit isn't even doing anything, because I'm used to smoking dope, drinking piss, taking trips, you know, ecstasies, whatever, I can feel those. But the meth, then I felt like I wasn't doing anything, until I realised I'd been sitting there for 3 days and done nothing, you know. I was like, fuck, this is crazy, you know. And yeah, once I'd done it, I was like, oh, well, I've done it now, like, so, and it was everywhere around, you know. West Auckland was like full of it. You know, everybody I knew had it, you know. Yeah, so everywhere I started going, everybody pulling it out. I was like, yeah, give it here, and then yeah, sort of went off the rails.
So would you say you got hooked pretty quick?
Oh, straight away.
Aye.
Yeah, straight away. And then I hid it for a while, you know, like I didn't let my ex know, like, so I was, you know, I just thought that was going to be my family forever. So like I hid it for quite a while, and then yeah, where things got too toxic, and I had guns in the house and stuff, and the kids in the house, and she was just sick of it, you know. So I was just really selfish.
Do you think you were just kind of repeating what your childhood was like, and that it was okay to have that shit in the house?
Yeah,
with kids.
Kind of, eh? Like I thought like I'm protecting the kids, but really I was bringing trouble to the house. Yeah, so I moved out of the house, and went and got my own place for a while, and then that's when things got real bad, you know. Started hanging out with the gangs, jumped on board, started thinking I was a gang member, you know, travelling all over the show, doing stupid shit, you know, putting my life at risk, really, and putting not only my life but my loved ones' lives at risk, you know. Yeah, and then I found the money, and there was it. It was over once I realised how much money I can make off it, because I didn't really need to smoke it, because I was always naturally high. Like I could just keep moving, I could keep myself up, and around that time it was probably like 2014 or something. You know, shit was pretty expensive, and you could sell fuck all and get lots of money, you know. So I just started doing that. Started selling it to all the escorts, and but like frequently going to all the massage parlours and sitting in there and just selling them all gear. Yeah, and when really I had family at home, you know, I didn't think twice. I just totally forgot, you know. It robbed me of time with my children, robbed me of my relationship with my ex-wife. I showed the streets more love than I showed my family, because I was always out there. You know, people knew me. People knew when I walked into the room, like, what I was about, what I was doing, you know. Yeah.
Fell in love with the lifestyle.
Yeah. Yep, most definitely. Like, it was just the fast life, you know. But it was easy come, easy go. Now I go from rolling to rolling butts real quick. You know, one minute I got a big stack of cash, next minute I got an empty ashtray. Like, I can pull in the fight, you know. Like, it was just fucking, it was madness. It was real madness. Yeah, and my house got raided from the cops when I wasn't there, and they're looking for a gun and shit, and my ex-wife had some of my things in her house, knuckle busters and knives and some dope, you know, and yeah, it was like a big operation. The gang I was hanging around with, we pretty much got hit all around the same week. They were just looking for, guns because I don't know why. And then like when I handed my house in and I got back with my wife, which took me some drugs and alcohol to persuade her. Like I ended up telling her, I got a box and some ecstasies, I'll come over and I'll sleep on the couch. And that didn't happen. Boom, I'm home. Alright, I'll give it up. I don't know. I was talking out my ass. Shit slowly got worse. I had a big fallout with the gang, and I was freaking out for my kids' safety, and I was just thought, fuck this, I got to get out of West Auckland. I'm over it, I'm over the paranoia and like living like that. So I took my kids and I moved down to the South Island with my nana to look after my nana until my nana passed. That was good, I was going down there for a change of life, but in the end I just changed the address, because when I got down there, the only way I knew how to make mates with, bro, you smoke, you puff, and then I just created the same environment, so it doesn't really matter where I go, because those core beliefs were right deep in me, and it was hard to change. It wasn't long before I found the myth in the South Island, and I was back out there doing the same thing. Then my marriage fell apart, and there was an incident there where we had the gang show up to my house over some bullshit, because I had a fight with another gang. Next minute I got the gang that I used to be with at my front door, and they've got a problem with me. I'm like, fuck, and my ex-wife was like, see, you're always doing this shit, it follows you everywhere. I just lost the plot. They had left, I knew where they were. I was drinking with my wife and her mum and stepdad, and I just always had problems with my mental health, right from a young age. And I think that's really what it was. It was like psychosis just switched over, and I ended up jumping in the car and going down to the house with a machete and trying to tell them to come outside, and caused all this drama. Then they wouldn't come out. I went back to the house and had dramas with my in-laws, and I ended up pulling a crossbow on my wife's stepfather, because he sort of was trying to calm me down. He'd taken me into the room, and then he sort of I felt like he got violent with me, like he was just like trying to give me the hard word. And it was like, this is my house, you're not doing that to me in my house. And I pulled out a crossbow. Not long after that, it was the first time I went to jail, because they ran the cops, and the defenders blocked off the little town, and I seen them all down there, and I just walked towards them, and they're like, I'm going, yeah, shoot me, thinking just fucked in the head. And then I just remember hearing the cops say, Jesse, just get on the ground, mate, just get on the ground, don't make us do it. And then I was like, looked at this cop, and he had a gun right at me, and I was like, oh shit, he's going to shoot me. Okay, don't shoot me. And then ended up in Dunedin prison. And then while I was in prison, I didn't know at the time it was my son's fifth birthday, the next day, and here I am ringing him from jail, shattered, broken, but yeah, my wife had packed up the kids packed her some clothes, and left with her mum and dad, her mum and stepdad. And
while you were in jail?
While I was in jail. And then I got served with protection order, parenting order, and yeah, all of that, and I was just, my whole world crumbled, and I didn't know what to do. So I just got into training hard while I was in jail to get my mind off it. Yeah, and then
Do you think that's what you needed?
jail.
Yeah, well, to be put somewhere where you couldn't just carry on with that lifestyle
Um,
and get your mind right a little bit?
yeah. My kids needed to be safe, really. And that's what it come down to. Like, yeah, it was like I was really broken that I couldn't see my kids and stuff, but at the same time I knew they were safe.
Yeah.
So I was happy in that regard. But yeah, just come to accept that my marriage had fallen apart, and yeah, when I got out of jail, you know, I was still in the South Island. My only thing that took me down there was my nana. So I went and moved in with my nana, and yeah, started again, started fresh. I was fit, I was healthy, you know. Got myself into another relationship while I was down there, and I don't know, tried to replace the family I lost. Took this young girl in, and she had a daughter. So I thought, oh yep, ready-made family and stuff. And got me a house, and yeah, that didn't work out. And you know, my old behaviours come back out. Started getting violent again. You know, started using drugs again, and yeah, then I found out my nan was sick, and she had the cancer, and that really shook me. Yeah, and then I just poured on this poor me problem, you know, like, you know, I can't see my kids, my nana's dying, fuck it, fuck the world. You just want to see bad, I'll show you bad. So I just, yeah, travelling all around the South Island, getting fried, standing people over, and fucking, yeah, that was pretty shocking behaviour. Yeah.
There's a question, how did you feel about having a son? Were you worried he'd be like you?
Yeah. Not when my son was born. I didn't worry about that because I was too selfish. I was too worried about myself, and I didn't. Yeah. But yeah, no, that is a worry that I always have. You know. That's why in a way it's kind of a blessing that my marriage fell apart, because my kids weren't exposed to it too much. You know, like now my son's 10 and my daughter's 13, and they've got a really stable home now, you know, and yeah, so, but I do worry about that. You know, I think it's maybe generational, and I think, like, you know, my dad's dad was like this, but so now I'm just trying to break those chains, you know, break the cycle. It's definitely a hard journey, but you know, it's worth it in the end.
So you're travelling around South Island, standing people over and that, what happened?
Yeah, well, this girl that I was with at the time, she kind of just went for the ride with me, and then yeah, my nan passed away, and yeah, that really broke me, because my nan sort of brought me up, and I was real tight with my nana, and yeah, when she passed away, it was just like, fuck, what am I gonna do now, you know? I felt like an overstay in the South Island. I'm not from there, you know, but then I was left with the responsibility to look after the house until it's sold. Yeah, and I told my nana, I was like, Nana, you know what, when you die, you know what I'm going to do with your house? Because she had a big ass mansion. You know what I'm going to do with your house? She's like, what's that? I said, I'll turn it into a gang pad, and we're going to cook meat in the basement. And she's like, you do that and I'll haunt you. And so after my nan died, yeah, I moved a few people into my nan's house, and then put bloody surveillance cameras around the house, and sat there like I was Don Corleone, smoking crack, and yeah, then she started haunting me. that was some scary shit. So yeah, it was sad, because the real estate people that were trying to sell the house, you know, I was making it really hard for them, because I was always in the house and I was all sorts of fucked up. And like, they'd seen some stuff. They'd come into the house one day and they'd seen like drugs and weapons and shit in the house. And they're like, we've got an open home, you need to clean this up. I'm like, fuck you, open home. I'll stay in the house, you know, like, you won't get paid, like. And so they had concerns that I was using drugs. They rang my mum up and said, look, we think Jess is under the influence. We're going to drug test the house, and like if that comes back positive, it's not going to be good. And so my mum rings me up, she's like, they're going to drug test the house? No, you dickhead. I'm like, oh, well, fuck it. I don't care. This is what happens when you leave me here. Like, but luckily somebody showed up not long after that, fell in love with the house, brought it, and that was me gone. Come back to Auckland. Yeah, but I suppose not long after my nan died, that girl that I was with, she disappeared on me. She come back to Auckland, and I got into another relationship straight away. And then yeah, no, it was shocking. And then I was heading back to Auckland. I was driving up, and I had all my stuff in the car, and yeah, this poor girl that chose to come to Auckland with me. Well, we never made it. We got as far as Picton, and the police seen some gang regalia, and we ended up searching my car, found heaps of weed, and found a handgun, and yeah, I said to that girl, I was like, I'm off to jail. Can I just ring my mum? And she's like, no you're not, no you're not. I'm like, yeah I am. She'd never been in trouble before, you know. And she goes, no you're not. And the gun was in her handbag. When the cops pulled that out and goes, whose is this? And she goes, mine. And she goes, what's in it? And she goes, a handgun. And she goes, whose is it? Mine. I was like, fuck, shut up, you know. But yeah, so she pretty much took the rap for that, and we both got arrested. Ended up in Blenheim police station, yelling out underneath the doors to each other, like, you know, I was just telling her, don't worry, I'll look after you when you're in jail. The cops were like, come over to me, and they're like, are you really going to let this young girl go down for your shit? I was like, what shit? That's her shit. Like, I told her not to bring that shit with us. They were threatening that they're going to put us both in custody, but they didn't. They let us out, and that was really weird because when we got out, I go back to the car and there's all these empty pee bags all over the show, and I was like, what the fuck are they doing with these? Like, I don't know, I had bags in the car, and there's like a police baton on the floor that they didn't take. I was like, fuck, what the fuck, let's just go. And they'd taken all my money because they thought it was for drugs, from drugs, you know. So yeah, I drove back down to Christchurch where my mate was living, and yeah, my car fucked up, ended up getting another one. I went up to the Port Hills on the top of Christchurch with this lady I was with, and ended up having a big incident up there with some tourists. Ended up smashing their camper van up with an axe and robbing them. Took their money, their laptops, and all the stuff out of their camper van anyway. And we're driving back down the Port Hills, and I can't remember to this day who was driving, but we went off a cliff, and just, yeah, I should have been dead, man. It was a mean drop off the cliff. Somebody had seen us drive off the cliff and come to help us. I can't remember any of it. I was knocked out. I had a side bag on, and it had all this Australian money in it, cell phones. And I wake up in Christchurch Hospital. I'm like, what's going on? What's going on? My mum was there. I was like, how did you get here? And I was still really drug fucked, and yeah, and then I looked in my bag and I seen all this money and stuff, and I was like, fuck, and I started having flashbacks. And I remember swinging for this guy with the axe, and I was like, fuck, did I hit him? I'm like, oh no, what's going on? She's like, Jess, you've had a wicked car crash. I'm like, where's the girl I was with? She's in bloody surgery getting her leg, maybe amputating her leg, and I was just like, what?
Holy fucking hell.
Yes, but it was I really questioned, like, why am I alive? You know, I was really, yeah, because I was really depressed. You know, I was fried out of my head. I had lost my family, then I'd lost my replacement family, you know, and it was just spiraling out of control, and it was like, fuck, how did I survive, you know?
You didn't really have anything solid in your life, eh?
Nah, just skipping here to there, you know, like, yeah, that's like the biggest trigger for me, is like not having a solid home, you know, solid foundation. You know, if I've got nowhere to stay, I'll stay awake, and that's the way it was for quite a few years. Especially after after I lost my kids, you know, it was just, I didn't care anymore.
Yeah.
I ended up getting kicked out of Christchurch from the judge because I got all these charges, and yeah, I was just like, fuck this. And the judge said, I'll only bail you if you can guarantee me you go back to Auckland. I was like, yep, done. So I come back to Auckland. I was back in Auckland for maybe a day, 2 days. Went and found that girl that had taken off. Yeah, pretty much kidnapped her. Took her against her will and brought her to my mum's house, and then just drunk and psychotic. Being a bully. Then I went to sleep and I woke up and the pigs were all around the house. And that was me off back to jail, because I come back with like 18 charges back to Auckland with 18 charges. And then those charges on top was enough to send me to Mount Eden.
Mm.
And went to Mount Eden for about 6 months, I think. Ended up getting sentenced to home detention in South Auckland at my mum's house, and that was really heat doing for me, sitting at home and not having any connections. My mum was scared of me. She didn't want to be around the house. She didn't want me having people around the house, but I did. And then just started going through the meth hard out. Out of that 12 months that I was on home D, I would have been awake 10 of them,
And how were you getting it? Just like getting it dropped off to the house?
Yeah, getting it dropped off to the house and just wheeling and dealing it from the house. People come around the house and, bro, can you do me this? Yeah, no, all good, here you go. Sell them some, got some money, can't spend it at the shop, can't go anywhere. I was on probation and shit, but I just didn't care, and I got away with it for quite a long time. And then I didn't, and then probation called me in for a piss test and drug test me, and I come back with meth in my system, weed in my system, so I got breached for my home D. And you would have thought that would be enough to make me, don't breach again, I'll go back to jail, but nah, my addiction just had its hold on me, and
too strong.
Yeah, so I just kept going. They drug tested me again, another failed, but by then I was coming to the end of my 12 months home D, so they couldn't really do shit about it, and I knew that, so it didn't stop me. It was just like, I could find any justification to use,
Yeah.
and I can minimise it and just, I talked myself into doing a lot of stupid shit, But while I was at that house, it was just crazy. I was so alone. I had people coming over all the time, but they were all drug addicts, and I had no real connection with anyone. And they could only hang around for so long, and then
it's like they're not coming to see you.
Yeah.
Hey, they're coming to get what you've got.
Pretty much. And I bought me a Harley Davidson while I was on home detention, and got it dropped off from the shop, dropped it off, and then I was just riding it up and down my driveway, And then they started giving me leave off my bracelets, to reintegrate me back into society. So I just ride my bike around Auckland and just make appearances here and there, and then shoot back to my little hideaway. But yeah, I made home detention look really good through social media though, and that's what made people come and see me. They're like, look, he's doing well, but really I wasn't. Just faking it till I make it, pretty much. And then I had a lot of promiscuous women coming over to the house, and when things didn't go their way, they start making up stories, and ended up some gangs come to my house and try to take my bike off me, but they didn't know I had a shotgun in the house, and I just walked outside with the shotgun and was like, bro, you ain't coming nowhere near my bike, you better fuck off or I'll drop you where you stand. And they were like, oh. So they backed it up, and that movie didn't play out for them. But then after that happening, I was like, fuck mum, we've got gangs coming over the house, you need to move. Just grab your stuff and get it out of the house, I'll stay here. I've only got so long on my bracelet, So she did that, she grabbed all of her stuff and moved and left just my bed and my TV for me. And one day when I was out, taking me some hours out, this person in particular came over to the house and kicked my mum's door in, looking for me. I wasn't there, lucky my mum wasn't there. They took the TV and a few other things, and started show ponying, like, haha, we got you. I'm like, fuck, I'm gonna kill you, you know. By then, like, you know, I was just full blown meth addict. And just so much hate and anger in me, you know. And that was because of some girl, you know, spinning stories into this guy's ear, why it happened. So as soon as my bracelet come off, I went looking for him. I started off with the girl. I went to her house, told her to fucking cut it out, you know, because you keep talking shit like this, someone's going to get shot. And she asked me if I had I got any gear, and I was like, no, I don't. Why is that? And she said, oh, my mate inside, she's got heaps. And I said, oh, well, in my mind, you owe. So I pulled the gun out, went into the house, give me your fucking gear. You know, there's people all in the house, and I just didn't care. You know, it was, I didn't think about consequences, you know. I had no consequential thinking at all. It was, that was just the norm, you know. People have gone away with it, you know, so, yeah. I ended up taking off from that house, and they rang the police, and instead of saying I took drugs off them, they said I took money off them. And yeah, that was the beginning of the end, really, because so it was like 1 week after I'd got off my Home Depot bracelet, I was wanted for home invasion, aggravated robbery, and yeah, so I drove out west after that, and I seen the cops spin on me, so I was like, fuck, took off because I had a gun in the car, took off, got away, and yeah, then they ended up finding the car, and they impounded the car, so they found the gun. Ended up finding out that I was wanted for home invasion. The probation had rung my mum, and my mum had rung me saying that the cops looking for you for home invasion, you know. And I'm like, fuck, I'm going back to jail for a long time this time. So yeah, all of that went out the door. I was at that time that I got presented with a kilo of methamphetamine. It was like the best thing and the worst thing that ever happened to me, you know. I didn't know what to do with it. Couldn't sell it because I was paranoid. Like, I was ducking and dodging various gang members, and I was like, can't go to them and sell it to them because they just take it off me, or fucking put a bullet in me, you know. So yeah, I ended up swapping heaps of gear for heaps of guns, and yeah, I just fucking been Santa Claus with it, just giving it away, trying to buy my safety, you know, going into houses where I didn't know people, and I thought if I put enough gear on the table, they won't want to rob me. You know, I know how to keep them off their phones. Here's a pipe. And then I get paranoid. Who are you texting, bro? You put your phone on the table, bro. Like, not while I'm here, you know. And yeah, started just smoking it like cigarettes, you know, drinking it, fucking, yeah. And then I was come across this girl that was using needles, and I was always anti-needles. I was always thought I was better than that, you junkie cunts, you know. And yeah, I asked this girl, how much do you blast? And how long have you been doing it? She goes, oh, I've been doing it like 6 years. I won't do anything more than a Q. I was like, I can double it up. Here you go. She's like, is this your first time? I was like, yep. She's like, you're going to be sick? Fucking do it. I had such a high tolerance, I wasn't working anymore, you know. So, yeah, my first blast, I injected 0.5 gram in my arm. And that sort of killed me over. And then I, yeah, fell in love with the needle. Straight away, double it again. Gram up my arm. And yeah, I was like secretly trying to commit suicide, you know. I didn't want to take responsibility for the things I'd been doing. You know, I knew the police were after me for that first thing, you know. And yeah, once I started blasting, it was all over.
Like, you would have been on a whole new level now.
Yeah.
To just the pipe.
Yeah, most definitely. I remember like thinking, oh, this is supposed to be like the cool life, like this is what everybody wants, you know. I'm sitting at a massage parlour with, you know, a big container, stack of cash and a machine gun, and I'm supposed to be happy. No, I wasn't, you know. I had like 5 working girls in the room, and I was just looking around like, fuck this. Never felt so alone. You know? All I wanted was a meal. If somebody would say, bro, what are you up to after this? Do you want to come back to my house? I'll cook you a roast. Oh my God, thank you. Here's an ounce. You know, like, that's the way I was thinking. But nah, they didn't give a fuck about any of that, you know.
And it feels lonely because nobody really wants to connect with you as an individual, as a person, eh?
Yeah.
They just want what the fuck's you've got in your pockets.
Pretty much. I had a couple of good friends that were like there for me, but even then because I was feeding them, you know. One of my mates was driving me wherever I needed to go. Poor cunt, because I'd be making him pull into driveways and stop here, bro. This car's following us, and you know, I was in stupid shit like catching an Uber, and then like while I'm in that Uber, I'm booking the next Uber. I'm like, so I'll catch an Uber from West Auckland to McDonald's on K Road, jump out of that Uber, look around, jump in the next Uber, go out to South, jump in that Uber, go over to the North Shore, you know, just cooked, ultra paranoid, you know. But I used to think, good sense of paranoia never hurts nobody, you know. If I stay paranoid, I'll stay safe. But it was just fucking sick, man. You know, I'd lost so much weight. I was down to 80 kilos, and I was grey, you know, like I was just walking dead pretty much. I ended up taking a truck off these crack dealers, and went down the line to try and see my kids. My kid's mother didn't know what I was up to at the time. She knew that I was on the run, but I sort of said to her, like, bring the kids to see me, please, and I've got some money for you guys, because I had heaps of money, and she brought the kids to see me. That was great. That was the last time I see my kids. Took them out for lunch. While I was out for lunch, girlfriend I had at the time was back at the motel room, and I didn't know, but the motel room had been double booked. So that means, like, when we got there, there was a briefcase there, and I was like, well, who's this shit? Oh, who cares? Left it there. While I was gone, the lady had come back for a briefcase. My girlfriend wouldn't let her in, you know. I had guns and drugs in there. Like, it's like, fuck off, who are you? You're not coming in here. I come back with my kids, thinking nothing. My kids and my kids' mother left, and not long after they left, the managers come down and they want to come into the room, and I got like pipes and fucking gas torches and shit everywhere, you know. It wasn't just nicely on the table, it was fucking everywhere. And I told him, fuck off, you're not coming in here, you know. He went and rang the police to get the briefcase. So once I told him to piss off, I lay back down and started smoking it again, and then I heard the famous, you know, knock, 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 and I knew that was the cops straight away. And I was like, fuck. And I told this girl that I was with, if the cops try to stop us, I'm going to kill them. Like, I was that far gone, and I was just like, I had nothing to live for. So when they come to the door, I went for the guns, and she begged me not to, and she's like, no, don't. So I just left the guns, like, fuck, grabbed a handful of money, and I ran out the back door. Walked around the side, seen a cop car there, fuck, that's me, I'm over. Took off running, jumping fences, fucking, and just in my undies, like, fucking madman. And I left that girl there. She ended up getting sent to jail on a supply charge for 100 grams and 2 handguns. It was pretty sad. I took off running, and I called my ex-wife and I was like, look, can you come grab me? And she's like, what the fuck's going on? I said, just come and grab me, please. And I think just out of fear, because she knew I was in her town, that I might just show up there, she came and grabbed me. I jumped in the car with her. I told her to go to the warehouse and grab me some clothes. I need something. Got some shorts and a shirt and shit. And then I was begging her to take me to Wellington to drop me at the bus stop so I could bus back to Auckland. Because I still had half a kilo back here. And she wouldn't, you know. I'm like, by then I'm in full blown psychosis, hearing shit, seeing shit, you know. It was real bad. Freaked my kids out, which is, you know, it's just unacceptable. yeah, we ended up going to this park, and she's like, you need to get out, you need to get out. So I was like, fuck it, alright. She later jumped out of the car, and there was a car behind us, and she took off, and I walked straight over to their car, and I was like, hey mate, can you do me something, can you give me a ride, And he's like, where are you going? And I was so cooked, he's like freaking out. He's like, oh mate, get away. Went to wind his window up, and I just pulled the window up, smash, and then just started attacking this old man, and yeah, didn't think twice, I was just, didn't know what the fuck I was doing. Poor fella, just innocent bystander. I started attacking him. Yeah, I couldn't get him out of the car because he had a seatbelt on. I opened the door trying to rip him out of the car so I could take the car. Couldn't get him out. And then another bystander seen what was happening, and he come along, and he was in a convertible, and he was beeping the horn saying, I'm ringing the police. So my focus switched from him to the guy in the convertible. So I ran up over the windscreen, kicked him in the face, sat on him, put the car in gear, and took off with him underneath me. It was pretty fucked up, really. It was like a movie. It was like I didn't have control. I was just watching what was happening, and I couldn't stop it. I didn't think I was kidnapping him. I don't know what I was thinking. Anyway, I get in this car, and I start heading north to Auckland. Yeah, and like the windscreen's down here, and my face is just blowing in the wind, foot flat, 180 k's. Like if the cops chase us, we're dead, because I'll crash us into a fucking lamppost. It's just the way I was at the time. We got so far out of this town I was in, and he's begging me, saying, I'll take you wherever you need to go, just you don't have to do this. And so I was kind of thought, well, if I do take him out of the car's going to be hot straight off the bat. At the moment, nobody's reported it. Yeah, they may have seen it all happening, but I don't know, we'll run the risk. So I jumped in the passenger seat, told him put the roof on the car, and you're going to drive me from here. And I didn't want him knowing I was going to Auckland, so I told him to drive me to Hamilton. And I held him captive all that way, like 8-hour drive overnight. Yeah, he started trying to like befriend me, and like, what, you have got kids, mate? I'm like, bro, don't fucking talk to me, I'll smash you over, and like I told him, if the cops go to stop us, or if you drive past any cops and you flash your lights at them, I'll kill you. And at the time, I really, really meant it, and he knew that, and yeah, he's just petrified, And then
were you still doing drugs on the drive up?
Nah, I'd left all my drugs at the hotel.
Oh fuck.
Yeah, so if I did,
could have been coming down too.
Yeah, so I ended up falling asleep while I was in the passenger seat. I'm like, we're driving, and I'm like, boom, like I'd been up for 7-8 days, and I start fucking nodding off. I'm like, fuck, and I'm like looking at him. I'm like, wind the window down. Next minute, I'm asleep, and I wake up. We're in the middle of nowhere and pitch black, and I'm like, the fuck? Look next to me, and this guy's asleep, and I thought, the fuck? Bang! Hit him. Told him, bro, get up. I didn't say you could sleep. You keep fucking driving. Like, I need to get back to where I was going. Yeah, and then I didn't even. I really didn't think of the consequences. I didn't have the brain space.
I can't believe he didn't drive you straight to the police station.
Yeah, you would have thought so. You would have thought so.
Yeah.
Or jumped out of the car and ran when I fell asleep.
Yeah.
Something like that. I don't know. But yeah, nice.
So he carried on driving.
Yep. He got me. He got me to Hamilton. I didn't know. I thought, fuck, I'm gonna have to do it again and just carjack someone else. But then I seen a bus stop, and I had Auckland written on the bus, so I was like, stop here. you know, and I said to him, I'm deeply sorry for what I've just put you through. I said, what are you going to do now? And he goes, I'm going straight home. I said, no, you're not. You're going to the police station. Don't talk shit. And he's like, no, I'm going home. I was like, all right, well, see you later, mate. I'm sorry. And I apologised because I realised by then it was like daytime and I'm thinking, fuck, what am I doing, you know? And then I jumped on the bus and headed to Auckland. While I was on the bus, I asked someone, can I use your phone? Made a phone call, said, hey, I'm going to be getting dropped off at Sky City at this time, make sure you're there. But then, yeah, along the way I found out that you could get off at the airport. I thought that's better than getting off in town. Meet me at the airport, got off the bus, got into the car, straight back to West Auckland, pick up my half kilo, back at it again. I went around to see that girl's mum that was locked up, gave her some gear, said, here you go, put some money in your daughter's account. And then, yeah, just I had nowhere to sleep, you know. Even when I did, I wouldn't sleep. You know, I was getting people to book me hotel rooms, and I'll go into that hotel room and I'll be like, fuck, that person knows what I've got in here. So I'll like get someone else to book another hotel room, the next room over, and then I'm like going between both of them, like I'll leave my gear in this room and I'll go over to that room. Fuck, what if they go in the room and get the gear? Fuck that. I'm swapping it around.
Fucking hell.
Yeah, it was straight up madness.
It's a fucking tiring lifestyle, eh?
Yep, hard out. It's just, you know, so much lost time. You know, so much better things that I could have been doing, but I was too stuck in the addiction.
Yeah.
You know, I couldn't see any way out. You know, like I was talking utter gibberish. I couldn't talk to people. I couldn't face people. Yeah. Then you know, I ended up at this house where I'd fallen asleep, and yeah, this gang member at the time, I knew him. He was hanging around with me, and it was all good. We never really liked each other. We had a bit of a fallout when we were youth. I tried to shoot him with a crossbow. I think he didn't really forgive me for that, but because I had the bag, it was all right. But he would frequently come to this house where I was, and I fell asleep. And it was actually a blessing in disguise what happened to me. It was a really, it was a real eye-opener, I can tell you that much. So anyway, I fell asleep, and then I wake up to this guy standing over me going, where the fuck's the money? And I'm like, hey, my bro, what are you up to? Like, you know, I'd been awake for 14 days at that time, and he knew that, everyone knew that. So I didn't even know I was falling asleep, you know. And I was all disorientated trying to get up, like, bro, what are you talking about? And then he just attacked me, and I had a police batter next to me, picked that up and started smashing my head with it. And yeah, I just fucking didn't know what was going on, you know, like, I knew I was sore, I knew my head was pissing out blood everywhere and stuff. I ended up escaping. I just took off, and I was just like disorientated as fuck, you know. What he was trying to do was rob me for what money and what gear I had on me. He didn't get anything, but he recorded it on his phone, and that sort of went viral, and I sort of felt like, fucking you fucking cunt, you like trampled on my mana, you know, like didn't even have any at the time, you know, but that's, I don't know.
What mana you had.
Yeah, what very little mana I had was gone, you know, you fucking mana muncher. Yeah, so I was like, yeah, I ended up finding myself like, I had no shirt on and shit, and I'm in this park, and there's a bridge, and there's a bit of a stream under there, and I'm just down in the stream washing my face. Like, it took me a good hour to recognise what had just happened to me, you know. But yeah, I can't really walk the roads because I'm wanted, and you know, I'd been on Police 10-7. There was 3 police teams looking for me 24/7 round the clock, one in Auckland, one in Wellington, and one in Christchurch, because they knew I was just bouncing all over the place, you know. So yeah, I was definitely couldn't be walking. I couldn't even really drive. And when cops drove past me, they knew my face. I was getting in police chases all the time. Yeah, But anyway, I ended up jumping some fences, found a t-shirt, put that t-shirt on, started walking up the driveway of this house, and there's this guy pulls in the house and goes, "You all good, bro?" I'm like, "Fuck, no, I'm not. Can you ring a taxi for me?" And he's like, "Oh, well, where are you going?" I was like, "Oh, bro, I got money, bro. Like, I just need to go." It was not far from where I was. And he's like, "Bro, I'll take you, jump in." I was like, "Yeah, sweet." Jumped in the car and told him what had happened to me, and little did I know, he's another meth dealer, you know, of all people. So yeah, he I left all this gear where I got rolled, and I thought that he had it, but he didn't. So I needed a puff. I was like, "Fuck, I'm fucking dying here, man. Have you got something?" He's like, "Yeah." And I was like, "Fuck, how much?" And he's like, "Bro, they're 300. I'm like, "Fuck." Here I was selling grams for $100, and now he's got them for 300. But fuck it, who cares? Yeah, give me one. Got to my mate's house, it was just a mess. My head, my whole back of my neck, my fucking head was out here, black and blue, you know. Yeah, and back to it, smoked that, and go and arm myself up, and go and get payback. That was the plan. I tried ringing these people where it had happened. They weren't answering their phones, and I was like, "Fuck, you're all involved in it. You know, you're all set me up." And like, I had plans to go back and shoot the house up and all sorts of shit, you know. Yeah, and then I get a phone call from somebody that was at the house saying, "Bro, come back. I've got all your stuff." And I thought, "I ain't fucking set up. Yeah, I'll come back." Little did they know I had a sawn-off shotgun with me. But I went back to the house, and this guy come up the driveway, and he's like, "Come down the driveway." I'm like, "Nah, come up here." And he's like, "Oh yeah," it comes down. I'm like, "Fuck, what's up, bro?" And he's like, bro, I got your stuff." I was like, "Whoa, fuck," he actually had it. And I was like, "Oh fuck, shot, bro. I'll take that." And fuck, do you want some? And he's like, "No, you gave me heaps last night." I was like, "Did I?" Oh fuck, shot for that. And yeah. So by then my kilo had turned into about, I don't know, 5 ounces left, you know, not even that, 4. But yeah, like the cops were going around raiding everywhere I was going.
Fuck, when you think about it, what that kilo brought you, all that fucking drama.
Pretty much.
Fuck.
Yep.
Not only that
and then
has
a lag at the end
impacted
of
your
it.
life, but how many others?
Yeah.
Hey.
Yeah. So yeah, definitely fucking ruined heaps of people's lives. They did. Shit
1
gear.
kilo.
It was shit gear too. So.
Oh hell.
Fuck. Nobody was happy with it, but they keep smoking it. So.
So you got 4 ounces left.
Yeah, and all of my houses were getting raided. Every house I went to was getting raided. I don't know how they were doing it. I started thinking like, they're fucking. Is it because I'm like logged into your Wi-Fi, or like, just they were one step behind me. My last place that I knew was safe got raided, and like everybody was like, "Bro, don't fucking come here," you know. Like, just had the armed defenders kick the door and looking for you, tip our house up. Fuck.
Wow.
And we got our kids here.
Snapping at your heels, eh?
Yep. And yeah. So I was like, I needed somewhere to sleep, and I wanted to go to sleep. So I ended up going to my grandfather's. Yep. I found my way there, and I begged him to just. He was just happy to see me, because you know, everybody was worrying what's going to happen with me. So yeah, him and his wife were just really happy to see me, see that I was still alive. I told them my plan is that I want to sleep, and then I want to hand myself into the police. Because it just come to this point in my life. I can't remember exactly when it was, where I was faced with these 3 options, and it was live, die, suicide by cops, because I can't kill myself. And there've been plenty of times I've tried, and I just cannot do it. But you know, I was armed to the teeth, and I'll shoot at the cops, and they can shoot me, and that's my way out. Or spend the rest of my life in jail, because I was going to go and kill this person that had attacked me in my sleep, you know, trying to come up with all fancy ways of how I'm going to kill him and get away with it. Then I just keep coming back to, nah, fuck it, I'm just going to go and shoot him at the doorstep and take the rap, you know. I'm already going down for all this other shit. I hadn't even calculated what I was going down for, you know. I just knew it was heaps. So yeah, I went to my grandfather's and I slept for a couple of days. And then he wanted me to hand myself in. He's like, oh, I think you need to hand yourself in now. And I was like, nah, I had planned in my head. I wanted to sleep Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and hand myself in on Monday. Because I don't want to be in the cells all night. I want to go straight to jail. But no, he wanted me to hand myself in. And I wouldn't, you know. And for the first time in my life, I disrespected my grandfather. And yeah, the psychosis came out. I jumped the fence, fuck yous, you know. My mum's there going, Jess, just do the right thing. I'm like, fuck you cunts. Fuck that. And I start looking at the neighbours like, I'm going to go carjack them and get away from here. And yeah, I think that day I broke my grandfather's heart. It's something I regret deeply. But yeah, he jumped out of the car and my mum pulled up and I jumped in with her. She said, what do you want to do? I'm like, fuck, let's go to the Waitaks. I want to go hide out in the Waitaks. So we went up to the Waitaki Rangers for the day pretty much. And I still had all this gear and I'm like, fuck, what am I going to do with it? Stopped at a couple of mates' houses. Right here, take all this. And gave them heaps of gear and yeah, I still had a big bag when I made the decision, fuck, enough's enough. I've got to take responsibility. You know, as much as it took a lot of courage, man, for me to hand myself in, but I did it. You know, it's one thing I can take great pride in is that, you know, it's a value of mine that I know I can upkeep is taking responsibility. So yeah, we're driving down Lincoln Road. I rang the detective that was looking for me. He knew it was me straight away as soon as he answered the phone. I was like, fuck, how do you know it's me? You know, he's been leaving his number everywhere he went, telling him, if you see him, tell him to call me. So yeah, I told him, fuck, I want to hand myself in. And he's like, you're doing the right thing. Like, yeah. And he's like, where are you? I said, I'm on Lincoln Road. I'm driving to Henderson Police Station now. Yeah, I'll see you when I get there. And he's like, I'm not there. I'll ring the police there and tell them to treat you with respect. You're doing the right thing. I thought, oh, yeah. On my way there, I dropped my nuts. I don't want to go to the police station. Fuck that. I'm like, let's go to the hospital, mum. You know, try to play the psych ward card. Went to the hospital and like, so that I could say to the police, you know, when they get me there, like, I was trying to get myself out. But fuck, that didn't work either. Went into the hospital, made an idiot of myself. And they said, here you go, here's some medication. Come back and see the mental health team tomorrow. It's fucking tomorrow, I'll be in jail. They didn't believe me. Yeah, I was hoping the cops would show up there, but nah, hospital doesn't ring the police if you want it. So, yeah, we left there and I told my mum, I was like, Mum, can you take this gear and sell it to someone so I can put some money in my account? And she's like, fuck, I'm not touching that shit. I don't know anyone touches it. And I thought, like, oh, should I take it to jail? And then I thought about all the shit it had put me through. Like, fuck it. Threw it out the window. Yeah. So that would have made or broke someone's day.
Yeah.
Somewhere along the way there if somebody found it. But, yeah. And I got to the police station and all these armed offenders outside the police station. I'm thinking, fuck, I wonder what's going on here, Mum. You know, I didn't think they were for me. I really didn't. I thought like they must have like a bomb threat or something, you know. And we pull into a car park and I'm having a cigarette. As I'm having a cigarette, I'm like looking at the cops in the rear vision mirror like, I don't know if I can do this, you know. Like, I was like, I finished my smoke. As I'm smoking, I can hear this voice in my head just going, just tell her to drive, like, get me out of here, you know, because the cops hadn't seen me. I'm right under their noses, but they hadn't seen me. And then I'm thinking, no, I'm going to get your mum in trouble. Jump out of the car and run, you know. But yeah, so I was like, made the decision, fuck, I can't finish the smoke. Love you, Mum. Gave my mum a kiss, jumped out of the car and get on the ground. I'm like, fuck. My mum's sitting there crying. Fucking take the guns off my son. They're going, where's the guns? I was like, fuck you got them all. They found about three or four guns while I was on my rampage, you know. But yeah, it was the best sleep I'd ever had that day. You know, it was such a good feeling, such a weight off my shoulders, man. you know, to just hand myself in, and yeah, got to the police cells, and it was just fucking good night. No, I'm out.
Like, no more running.
Yeah, man, that was a good time. Like not the everything before it. It was a good time sleeping. Then they tried to get statements off me like fuck off, I'm sleeping, like fuckwits. And then yeah, I got told the next morning that I was getting charged with 2 aggravated robberies, kidnapping, supply, 3 possession of firearms, possession of explosives, assault with intent to rob, you know, just a fucking big list of charges, eh? And I remember thinking, what fucking aggravated robberies, like, and I just didn't know.
All the blur.
Yeah, I was just like, the kidnapping, yeah, but that's not really kidnapping. Like, he told me he would take me, but that was my
justification. You were sitting on him.
Yeah, that was my justification in my head.
Yeah.
He said he would help me. Liar. Yeah, fuck. And some of these things is just pretty haunting to think what I've done, you know. It's been a lot to process, to like be able to forgive myself, you know, and you know, just prove to people that I am sorry.
Did you end up getting done? What did you get done?
Yep.
Or you got done for all of that?
Nah, I got the police couldn't, they had weak cases on a few of them.
Yeah.
So, and they thought I was going to trial. Now, I was guilty of them all, but yeah, nah, because I was in the hotel room with all the gear, they couldn't, and my girlfriend was at the time, they charged both of us, but how could they charge me? I wasn't there. They never found me there. I took off, but I had left my ID there. I'd left all my stuff there, so yeah, they end up withdrawing the supply charge. They end up saying, look, if you go guilty on possession of firearm, aggravated robbery, kidnapping, assault with a firearm, and assault with intent to rob, we'll take the rest away. And I said, okay, I want a sentence indication on that, you know. But before they gave me that deal, you know, the next day when they told me all my charges and I was in Henderson Courthouse, yeah, I met this lovely lady, my lawyer. She was awesome, you know, like she done a lot. It's been a big journey with me and her. I was a broken man, you know. I said to her, out of all the stuff you can see in front of you today, what do you think my end sentence will be? She's like, I'm sorry to tell you, you're looking at 10, 11 years. And I was just like, fuck. You know, I was like, fuck. But yeah, and in the end I ended up getting an indication of 7.5 years. I was really happy to take that. I was like, yep, I'll take that. And then like I could start calculating my discounts for early guilty pleas and cultural report and all the things you get discounts for, remorse letters, certificates, blah blah blah. And by my calculations, I brought it down to about 4.5 years, and I was rapt to do 4.5 years. You know, I sat in Mount Eden prison for a year and a half. Yeah, for the first year it was just madness, prison life, and then yeah, after a year's time in there, I found out that they just opened this new unit in Mount Eden prison called Lima Unit, and it's a recovery unit, and that's where I was first introduced to recovery. So yeah, I get to this unit and they start giving us booklets to fill out, and yeah, that's where I started educating myself about addiction. And I realised, fuck, there's like a lot to it. It's not just the drugs, you know. Yeah, so by the time I come for sentencing, I'm hoping for 4.5 years. I got like 23 certificates to give to the judge, and yeah, the judge was just amazed at my determination to change. You know, like my willingness to change. He could see all the evidence in front of him, and he took a gamble on me, so I'm really glad he did.
Where did that motivation and determination to change come from, do you think? Just sick of the lifestyle and wanting a change, or?
It's because I chose to live, you know, and I knew what I had to do to live was change. Like, if I didn't change, I don't think I'd be here today. You know, I could have gotten out of jail and taken off and kept doing that shit. But you know, they say that there's only 3 things for addicts. You know, jails, institutions, and death. I've been to jail. I've been in institutions. The only thing left for me was death. So, yeah, it's just enough was enough. You know, I'd lost everything. I'd lost my family. You know, I didn't lose my mum though. She loved me no matter what. But yeah, at first I was ticking the boxes. I really wanted a lighter leg. You know? Yeah. And yeah, that's the truth of it.
Yeah.
I was like, heard about this recovery unit, and yeah, they'll give me more discounts. I'm there.
Yeah, hard.
But whilst being there, I started learning things about myself, and yeah. So when I went for sentencing, the judge said, I was amazed at the fact that I handed myself in. He said people on these charges never hand themselves in. They just keep going until they're either shot or captured. And I was like, yeah, well, I've written a really heartfelt letter to him saying that, you know, I'm willing to take responsibility, and no matter what the cost is. And yeah, so he stood me down for sentencing, and I was like, what? I'm supposed to be getting sentenced, you know? I was pretty pissed off. He goes, look, I'm going to stand this matter down, and if you can get yourself into a rehab, I'll sentence you to home detention. I nearly fell over in the dock. I couldn't believe my luck. Like, you know, home detention on those charges, are you for real, you know? So he stood me down, and I went back to the unit and just started applying to every rehab in the whole country. Not many rehabs will take people with criminal history like mine. Odyssey House did.
Where's that one?
That's in Auckland here.
Oh yeah.
Yep. It's just in Mount Albert, Eland sort of ways. Yeah, they accepted me because of my persistence, because I was writing a letter to them every day, you know, trying to prove to them that I won't be a risk. You know, that I know my past is my past, but you know, just trying to explain my situation to them. And yeah, they ended up giving me an interview, and yeah, by then my mind was working really good. You know, I could speak really clearly, and I was polite, and they accepted me. So yeah, I ended up getting sentenced to 12 months home detention in the Odyssey House, and I couldn't believe my luck. When I got there, I thought it was amazing. I thought, oh, this place is awesome, and it didn't take long for that to wear off, because you know, I thought going to rehab is just about not using drugs, but yeah, I got there, and they started teaching me about my behaviours and calling me out on my behaviours, holding me accountable, and it was like I went there with a big chip on my shoulder, like, you know who I am? You know what I've done? like I was somebody important, you know, like yeah, so like, you know, coming straight from prison yard where that shit doesn't fly, to there, and people are saying, oh, I don't like the way you do this. Fuck you. Like, you know, but it was, yeah, I had to make some major adjustments. It was a really bumpy road in Odyssey House, you know, like
in a good way or a bad way?
No, in a bad way. Like, I just, yeah, well, no, it was good. It was challenging. I got a lot of good out of it. A lot of good. You know, learning to delay instant gratification, and just accountability, and learning to respect people, you know, learning to have healthy relationships with women, because I've just been a piece of shit to women for so long, you know. Yeah, it was good, but yeah, they got this system in there called an encountering system, and that's where, like, call people out on their behaviours. You're expected to do a minimum of 1 per week, and when people would get on my nerves, I'll use it as a weapon, and I'll just encounter them over and over and over, and I'll encounter their friends and their friends' friends, and they come across quite intimidating, because I was just causing trouble. But yeah, they told me to assert my boundaries. I was like, how do I do that? And they're like, use the encountering system. I was like, okay. So I just used it as a weapon. And people, I made a lot of enemies in there, you know. People started hating on me hard, but I didn't care. I just kept doing my thing. But I did get in a lot of trouble there. It was a big build up. I was there for 6 months. If you're well behaved, you can complete it in 9 months, but not many people do. I pushed back about a month of my treatment because of vaping in my room, you know, just those sneaky behaviours are coming out, thrill seeking. I never even used to vape, you know, until I got to rehab, and then they're like, "Bro, do you want one of these?" I was like, "Yep," you know. I don't know what it was about, you know, smuggling stuff into the rehab, like phones, munchies, vapes, like, just sneaky behaviours. And so I was there for 6 months, and I ended up getting discharged for confronting behaviour because I started swearing at the staff. They drug tested me, and the drug test came up unconfirmed, and that just made me furious. I was like, what the fuck is that about? You know, like, I've been clean for, at that point, 2 years. 2 years. And I was like, what the fuck is that about? You know, why is it saying that? And they go, don't worry about it. I'm going, fuck you, don't tell me don't worry about it. I'm worried about it. Like, why, you're going to kick me out because that's just unconfirmed? And it's like, that doesn't say positive. And I was like, oh, fuck this. Your drug test is fucked. And then that was like the cherry on top for them. They had enough of my bullshit. They discharged me. I was still on bracelet. I was only 6 months into my sentence. So they're really sneaky about it because they didn't know if they're gonna be releasing me to police care or if I'm expected to go and hand myself in. I end up like pretty much just going straight to the managers and being like, what's going on? Are you kicking me out? You know, made them tell me that they're kicking me out. I was like, fuck, I'm going back to jail. You know, my first thoughts were, fuck this, I'm going on the run again, you know. But during my time there and stuff, you know, I've been told just do the right thing. If you keep doing the right thing, the right things will happen. So when I got discharged from there, my mum come pick me up, bless her soul. I went straight to the dairy, got me a Coke and a pie, packet of smokes, and a roll of tinfoil. And my mum said, what are you doing with the tinfoil? And the tinfoil was to wrap my bracelet, because those bracelets, if you wrap them, they can't see where you are, and it's another charge if you cut it off. So I wanted to go, fuck knows, do something. But I rang my lawyer and told my lawyer I've been discharged, and fuck, what am I going to do, you know? She goes, oh, you know, do the right thing, Jess. And I was like, fuck, I'm going to have to hand myself in again. So for the second time, I went and handed myself into the police, went straight to the police station via McDonald's. got me a feed first because I knew, fuck, I might not get out this again. But I went straight back to jail. I was only in jail for 6 days before my mum had found me somewhere to go when I got another recovery house.
So were they willing to let you go?
Yeah, so this one was a Māori run organisation, and I thought, oh cool, there's going to be tato there's choice. And it wasn't. I got out, was there for 3 days, you know. As soon as I got there, they're like, oh, you can have your phone here. I'm like, cool. Oh, you can smoke here. Oh, cool. You know, and it was nothing like Odyssey. The next day they got me an absence to go to the beach with them, and I was at the beach just tripping like fucking anxiety as because I hadn't been around people, you know. I've been locked up for like 2 years pretty much, and I was like, couldn't believe my luck that I'm like standing out on this beautiful beach on a summer's day, and I was like, fuck, this is cool. The day after the beach, the staff didn't stay at this house, and they fucking, they were useless. They took someone else's word. So we had this guy show up there that had got bail from jail, and he didn't have a room to sleep in. This guy got real close with this girl, and I was watching them and I was thinking, fuck, you're a bit he's a bit weird. They end up making the story up that I was being intimidating. Staff ring my mum and say, like, look, you better get over to the house. Your son's been intimidating residents there. My mum's like, what? No way. And he's like, yeah, you better get over there. So she comes over. I get on the phone to them. I'm like, what's going on? They're like, why are you intimidating that young fella? I said, I'm not doing nothing. I've been in my room all day. I don't know what you're talking about. And they end up discharging me. And I was like, fuck, I'm going back to jail. You know, like, and at that time COVID was on and it was hard to get on the phone. It was 23-hour lockdowns. And at that time I was like, fuck, I'm not going back. They're not going to let me out a third time. I'm going on the run. Fuck this. I rang my lawyer up, told her, like, what's my options? Like, if I can find somewhere else, do you reckon you could get me there? And she goes, you had luck finding that place. I was like, yeah, but, you know, if I find somewhere else, will you get me there? And she's like, yep. She said, what are you going to do? And I said, I'm going to ring the 0800 number and tell them that, you know, what's going on here. This guy's been intimidating me. He's walking around the house like he wants to fight. I'm not here to fight. I'm here to get well. So I done an emergency relocation, and they did it. And I was wrapped. I couldn't believe it, but they relocated me, emergency relocation, and they said, your probation officer's going to call you, and then you can sort it out from there. The probation officer rings me the next day and tells me, you've got to go and hand yourself in. I'm like, nah, not happening. Not happening. I'm getting back on the crack. Fuck yous. Like, I was just that wild day. I was just like, because I'd done nothing. You know, like, if I'd done something, I would own it. But yeah, I'd done nothing, and it really made me fucked off. Like, that I was going back to jail. I was like questioning God. Like, why? What did I do? You know, like, are you just fucking with me? And I started ringing around places, and I heard of this place, CNS, and I remembered that this guy that I knew from Active Addiction was actually running that place. So I rang through to him, and I pleaded my case to him. I said, bro, you know what I've been up to, you know I want to change. Can you get me there? And he said, I'll ring you back. He ended up getting me there, and that was a blessing in disguise. When I got kicked out of that place, I was questioning God hard out. And I was like, why, you know? And it wasn't until I pulled up to this new place that I realised why, because this place was beautiful, you know, it was on a farm, it was therapeutic as, it was real healthy people there, you know, really good people. And it gave me a space to practice all the tools that I'd been learnt in my journey that far, you know, and it kept me honest, you know, they held me accountable, you know, it was an awesome house. And I was there for probably about 5 months before I got offered to house host for the NTP ministry. And so pretty much I got presented with, we can get this property, what can we do with it? And I helped design the program up and get everything in the house. I got, we worked it was a team effort. We got stuff donated to us, and we filled the house with furniture, filled the fridges and cupboards with kai, and I ended up going over there, and that was my bracelet finished. That's where I am now.
So what are you doing now?
What I'm doing now is I'm sharing my recovery with people, you know. I'm role modeling to people that have been through that life, that it is possible, you know, to think about where I've come from to where I am now and what I'm doing with my life now. It is kind of a life beyond my wildest dreams. Never in a million years did I think I'd be sitting here doing something like this, you know, or like I've got 3 generations at my house. I've got, you know, a grandmother.
So you run a house
Yeah.
for people coming out of active addiction?
Yep, and we get people out of prisons, you know, like that are really motivated and want to change. We've got people on bail at the houses, and you know, now I'm facilitating this program, you know, where I'm educating people around addictions and you know, just those childhood traumas and stuff that have led us to addictions, and just help people realise, what's led them to that path, and now that they can identify their problems and what was going on, now they can, live a life separate from that. But yeah, I've got these ladies at my house, and so there's grandmother, the daughter, and the grandson, and that's 3 generations that I'm helping there. The mum and the daughter, they were both in active addiction before coming to my house. Now that they're there, the growth that I've seen in them both has been amazing. This young lady, when she showed up, she was really angry. She did not want to be there. She hated me. She wouldn't look me in the eye. Whereas now she's got a beautiful smile. She's walk around with her head up. They still have their bad days, but
everyone does.
Yeah, so do I. They got to live with that, and I got to live with them. So.
Do you think that the experiences that you had in those other homes that you went to,
yep.
you've been able to look at those to see what kind of worked and what didn't, and then you've been able to kind of create that in your fella's home that you run?
Yeah, most definitely. Most definitely, not so much from the first one that I got kicked out of.
Odyssey?
Odyssey was where I got most of my tools,
Mean.
I just didn't know what I was doing with them.
Yeah.
It's one thing to just have these tools and put them in the kitty and put that bag to the side, but
how do you utilise them?
When I went to Clean and Sober Side, it was a safe place for me to practice these tools, practice these strategies that I'd learned, and it worked out really well for me. That's where I really got a hold of my my recovery. Like, I've been out of jail now just over a year, and now I'm house host for a recovery home, and I'm getting people well. That's just unbelievable.
What does a typical day in the house look like? Because I never went to anything like that. I had to I just staunched it out on my own, like, every day. So what does that kind of look like?
So we've got a routine Monday to Friday. We've got a schedule. The weekends is our time to just chill around the house. We just do our basic check in and check out. So what that is in the mornings we get up and we have our check in and we read from the Narcotics Anonymous Just for Today. We go around the group and share what we got out of that reading, because my perception of that reading may be different to yours, and somebody might not even hear anything in there. So we go around the room and we share about that, or we can just share what's on top for us, what's going on, if there's any problems, so we can help each other out. We rate our days from 1 being the worst, 10 being the best. Then we know, 5 of us are all on a 9, but our mate over there's on a 2. Let's look after our mate on the 2, so we do a round of what we got out of the reading, and we'll ask if there's anything that needs to be discussed amongst us. While we're all there, it's a safe environment rather than just individuals having conflict. And then after that, we're into our chores, make sure our house is tidy and clean, because we've got visitors, we've got officials. Ian Bale come around and check the house and stuff like that.
And that's even cool, just kind of reminding people about responsibilities and hygiene and looking after your environment and things like that.
Yeah, but a lot of people have just been real scumbags in active addiction, and not keep themselves clean, and just even their personal hygiene's gone right out the window. So it's expected that you keep your personal and physical hygiene up to standards. After that, we'll be in our lounge and we'll watch educational videos around addictions and communications, trauma. We watch quite a lot of TED Talks and motivational videos. And that's good. That's for me, that's how I unlearned the behaviour that I'd learnt. All the bullshit that was rolling around in my head, I had to get it out. but I had to fill that spot with something else. So watching those videos can be boring at times, you know, but that's why I make sure after we finish watching the videos, I'll ask, what did we get out of that? You know, we'll go around the room and just to make sure that people are listening. If they can take one thing out of that choice, because that's one thing that they've forgotten about now, because you know, that's pushed that bad shit out of their head, and it pretty much just teaching them to live pro-social lives, you know. After that, we work the 12 steps for NA. We create a space where it's safe to us to work together, but as individuals. It really helps put your life in perspective.
Yeah.
You know, when you're working those books, there's some really confronting questions there, and you know, when you write it down, it's one thing, but when you read it out to someone, it's a whole other you know, thing. But it's secrets that keep us sick. You know, it's all that shame behind our behaviours, that you know, what's happened behind closed doors. So it's about bringing that out into the light and not carrying that anymore. You know, living free from that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then after that, we've got the gym. We also go out to beach walks. We go to Hanua Falls, just to get them out and into nature, you know, and some fresh air, you know, and just to show them that, look, we don't need to drugs to be happy, you know. We can live a happy life without that shit in our lives. We do things like Tempin bowling and stuff, you know. It's a bit of a challenge, you know, like who's the best bowler, you know. Just try to promote fun activities, you know, fun pro-social activities. So yeah, after that we do a minimum of 3 NA meetings a week. We can go to NA meetings every day of the week if we like, which some of us have done. But as long as they have done their 3 meetings, if they don't want to do another one, it's alright. Tidy the house then. We're going to a meeting. Yeah, in the evenings we have our checkout meetings, just a processing sort of group to share about what's been going on for us in the day. You know, what have we got up to? What's our highs, our lows? You know, just so that we're all aware of each other.
Do you feel like you're still learning in your own recovery every day? Me,
most definitely.
Yeah.
Most definitely. I get challenges all the time that pop up, and I'm like, oh, you know, but it's in the uncomfortability is where I found the growth, you know, like if I keep doing what I've always done, I'm just going to get the same results. So being challenged with new challenges, I take them on now, you know, like, and I'm willing to fail, you know, like I'm not perfect. I make mistakes and I learn from them, you know. I don't want people correcting me, being like, no, don't do it like that, do it like this, because then they're robbing me of the learning. You know, just leave me to learn my lesson my way.
Does it help you to be surrounded with others that are going through the same thing as well? Yeah,
definitely. Like, it's definitely that group dynamics. You know, that's what really works in our house. There's a lot of love in our house. You know, we all care about each other. Which is, you know, miles from where I once was. Nobody cared about me. Now people really rely on me, you know, and that's a good feeling when, you know, I'm now responsible for others, when for so long I was never responsible for myself. You know, and so as challenging as it is, it's rewarding, you know, like I really feel like I've found my calling as in helping others, you know. I'll help anybody that wants to help themselves, you know. If all they got to do is say, like, you know, be open, honest and willing and get vulnerable, you know, tell me what's going on, tell me your truth, and maybe we'll be able to come to something, because that's how I've managed to make the change, as, you know, talking my truth.
And how do people get into your house? Like, how does that work?
So they reach out to the director and they can go through that way, they can self-refer. Our name is floating around in the prisons a little bit, so there are a lot of prisoners that are trying to get out, but yeah, we just got to be careful who we bring into our houses, you know. Some people are just trying to get out of jail, but we haven't had anyone get out of jail and run away, you know. Everybody that's gotten out of jail is still out of jail, and getting better. You know.
Mean success stories?
Yeah, there's some good success stories, but I mean we've only been going for just over 3 months. My biggest success story is the family that I have in my house. You know.
Yeah.
It's all about the kids. You know, I miss my kids dearly. You know, I miss my kids every day. So to see this young mum with her son, it's just amazing. You know, and it gives me hope. You know, like she's gonna be able to bring this boy up in a happy world. You know, that everybody in the houses are building strong support networks that aren't on drugs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What would you say to anybody that was in your position that may be thinking about wanting to get on the straight and narrow like you? What's your bit of advice for those people?
Just do it. Yep, reach out, you know, reach out for that support, you know, get connected with people, ask those questions. You know, the only stupid question is a question not asked, you know, like get into the rooms of NA, you know, you find some amazing people there, you know, get out of your own head and stop running on your own will, because your own will is leading you astray, you know, hand that over to the Lord and just keep doing the right thing and the right things will happen. Yeah. It's in the rooms of NA really where I've met the best people I've ever met, you know.
Yeah.
Like, and when I went into NA, I was really judgmental. You know, I still can be sometimes, bit of a character defect of mine. But you know, like I'll walk in there and I'm like, what do you know? And the next minute they're sharing a story that's really similar to mine. I'm like, fuck. Oh yeah. So you know, I've learned to not judge people anymore. So that's a big part of it. You can't be judging people. You don't know their story, what got them to where they were.
Well, fuck, when you walked in this room, I didn't fucking think your story was like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, fucking, you've just, done massive growth. What do you think the contributing factors to your growth has been?
Just the support that I have, you know. I've got some really supportive people in my life now. And the pride in my mother's eyes, you know, that's all worth it, you know, because damn, I put a lot of wrinkles on her face. The shit I used to do, you know, like, so just to see my mum happy is all worth it, you know.
Yeah.
And it's really about making an amends, you know, for all the people I've done wrong. There's people that won't accept my apologies. There's people that I can't even say sorry to. I've made victims of people that I don't even know, so I couldn't reach out to say sorry to them if I wanted to. But I feel in my bottom of my heart that if I'm doing the right things, nobody has to suffer at my hands anymore, you know. Nobody.
Yeah, I know. Is there anything else that you want to share with us?
No, just you know, it works if you work at it, you know. It works if you work at it. Anything is possible.
Fuck, well, on that note, on behalf of CWK, we just want to thank you so much for coming and sharing your story with us.
Thank you.
And we wish you nothing but the best for your future.
Thank you very much.